Texas mall shooting survivor describes the horrific. Oh, here we'll cover like the news portion of this now.
The
Now
weekend, a
that I've given you
33-year-old
the
man with an
details.
AR-style rifle opened fire as people shot, killing at least 8, injuring 7. Those innocent victims killed ranging from 5 to 61 years old. And when it comes to gun violence in America, the numbers are simply staggering. A portrait of a nation in crisis. The latest tragedy in Texas was the 199th mass shooting of 2023. It's only the 128th day of the year. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman is in Allen, Texas with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. That mall behind me was packed Saturday afternoon. That gunman drove into the parking lot, got out in the middle of it, and began shooting. And eyewitnesses tell me that the scene itself was so grisly that first responders were hyperventilating and were sick. Now, authorities have been poring over the suspect's history, finding that he was discharged from the Army in 2008 over mental health concerns. His social media posts filled with neo-Nazi and white supremacist material.
We got shots fired at the young wall.
This morning, authorities investigating that Texas mall shooting, which left 8 people dead, as possible domestic terrorism, finding the suspect's social media rife with neo-Nazi and white supremacist posts.
Around 3:30 Saturday, a gunman, now identified as 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia,
turned an AR-style weapon on throngs of shoppers at the Allen Premium Outlets north of Dallas. This disturbing video shows the moment he steps out of a car with an AR-style rifle and opens fire. Dozens of rounds of gunfire, hundreds of shoppers run for cover.
There's this guy dressed in all black, wearing a vest, has an assault rifle, and he's just shooting at people.
In this surveillance video, one store employee leading customers to a service corridor and safety.
Everybody, I got it.
Shortly after, an unnamed hero cop heard on police radio, first calling for backup, then taking the suspect alone. Ultimately, the gunman killing 8, the victims ranging in age from 5 to 61 years old. Stephen Spainauer is a military vet whose son works at the mall and called Stephen, who was there within minutes. Spainauer almost immediately encountering the wounded and the dying.
You arrived on the scene and you immediately saw 3 deceased people who had been shot dead and this little boy.
There was more than 3. I was on the operator. I was counting bodies, and I told her I've got 7 bodies. I need 7 ambulances, and she's like, "What? I don't know if we have that many." I said, "However many you can get."
Joshua Barnwell, who had Stop the Bleed training and military experience, also ran to the wounded.
I approached the woman who was conscious. She said, "Please work on my daughter." This woman had massive trauma, 5 to 6 gunshot wounds. I went to her daughter. I immediately started chest compressions. I knew she was gone.
And now, a community in mourning, honoring the lives lost.
Among the victims, Ashawaria Tatikanda, reports our affiliate WFAA. She was an engineer. And 20-year-old Christian LaCour. His sister Brianna telling
You gotta admit the irony in following up, telling Chad to go outside with coverage of an insane guy shooting up a mall, though. Yeah, I know. It's like, it is a weird situation because, like, while I'm simultaneously telling you to go outside, I'm also talking about how dangerous it is outside in America. It is very dangerous to be outside in America. But, you know, still got to do it. We are witnessing an empire in decline. It will not go quietly. I agree. Anyway, the shootings remind me of when Pakistan cooperated with American drone strikes. It's literally just another car bombing. Oh, look, just another shooting. It's just, yeah, we normalize it.
ABC News, he'll always be remembered for being a really sweet kid. You can see that growing memorial behind me, 8 crosses. Now, around one of them, they've tied stuffed animals. That is the cross for the 5-year-old child who was killed. This is the second mass shooting here in Texas just this week, and so many eyewitnesses telling us that they knew exactly what to do when they heard the gunfire. They got low, they ran away, got as far as they could to safety. Michael.
All right, it's just heartbreaking, Matt. Thank you so much for that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
And that's where we're going to begin today because our thoughts are with Allen, Texas this morning. They're calling for prayers again in another city. 8 people were killed, as you've heard. 7 others were wounded in that mass shooting at a premium outlets mall in the Dallas suburbs before a police officer who happened to be there on another call killed the gunman. Joshua Barnwell was shopping at the outlets with a friend on Saturday, and we are very grateful, and grateful is the word, that he can join us today. Joshua, by the way, is a U.S. Navy veteran and immediately rushed to help the victims. Joshua, it is so good to see you.
Thank you so much.
So I'm thinking, when you went to the mall on Saturday, there's...
Oh, my God, I'm sorry. They condition like 60% of Americans that see this shit to hear thoughts and prayers and wipe clean their personal guilt for inactivity like a man in black pen. I don't think it works that well. It works that well. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it works that well. I think it's just like most people just basically are like, it's a natural disaster. What can we do about it? You know what I mean? That's the way I feel about it. Where that's just what it feels like. Do you have the gravity increase in your house? That was some heavy breathing. Maybe because I'm fucking carrying a 20-pound puppy in a crate simultaneously up the stairs immediately while I'm running.
No way you thought you would be sitting here on national TV talking to us about this Monday morning. So take us to that moment. When did you realize it was gunshots and realize we have a problem here?
So I was walking with my friend past to one store, and when we had reached a particular location, I'd heard 2 pops go off, and at that time I was unsure. I had looked over towards the north of me, and I'd seen what looked like, adolescents running. So briefly I thought it might have been a prank. But then nearly instantly after that, the massive rapid gunfire began to occur. And at that point, I just shy of threw my friend behind a concrete pillar, a covering support for the walkway, and got behind there myself and was basically shouting at anybody that was around me to take cover, to get down. And while I was behind this wall, I went to dial 911. I got through to 911 and let them know what was happening. And after I was disconnected from 911, I sent out an SOS message on my phone to my emergency contacts, leaving a voicemail. Basically, we're down, we're under fire. Right now, we're okay. Mass shooting to that respect was the voicemail that went out when this first occurred.
I know, but Joshua, let's just stop on that for a second. You're in the middle of a mass shooting. For most people, it's just a story we read on the news, and then people go on to the next thing. I've heard you say it's important that people hear the details of how horrible this is, because I don't really think people understand how horrible this is. Can you share that part of the story from your perspective?
They will.
So
They will. No, I mean, I don't even think she's that wrong. They will, statistically speaking. You know what I mean? It's not off base to assume eventually that, like, you will see it due to a loved one or yourself directly at this point. You know what I mean? We're so incredibly fucked, dude. I mean, the unfortunate reality is that the more people understand the horrific details of a mass shooting and the more people understand the trauma, the more they become desensitized to it. You know what I mean? Because we're American. We have no way of solving these problems, so we just, like, take it at face value and decide actively that it's a part of our fucking daily existence. For example, look at homelessness. There's a video from that Oliveira guy that went into the Jeffrey Epstein Island that I was watching last night on YouTube, where he went to Kensington, and the situation is so fucking dire, man. There's, like, heroin needles everywhere on the fucking streets, like, and the solution is to basically turn around and put casinos inside of fucking bodegas. It's great. They got nothing. Yeah. Locals will call them zombies. Yeah. You see horrifying things every fucking day on your daily commute, and you don't even think twice about it because you are already conditioned into normalizing it. And after normalizing it, you either become violent, or you just and want a violent solution to it because it's an inconvenience that frustrates you, or you normalize it and you push it aside and you just, like, look the other way, you close your eyes. But both sides are still detached from it, and I do it too. I myself do it.
When we initially had believed that the situation had subsided or ended, and I made my way north across the parking lot because there was just something that I can't explain. That was like, I want to go to where I believe this gunfire had came from. And so I was walking towards what would be the H&M store, and I saw the glass that had been completely obliterated and shot out. And that's when I looked over, and there was an area where a landscaped area right next to that store, and I saw a woman who was literally, folded over where she had been shot and killed, and basically just fell over, basically where the term, dead where they lie come from. And then after I had noticed her, I then saw another man who was shot in his shoulder that was on the ground and struggling. And next to him was a small child, approximately 7 to 8 years old, who was lying there, and I wasn't sure if she was still with us. Next to her was an adult female who was very heavily wounded. And then draped onto her, close to her head, was another young female, face down. And then not far from her, adjacent to her feet, was another adult male shot, and he was on top of a adult female who was, by all appearances at that time, already deceased. And there was an approximately 5 to 6 year old young man who was just covered from head to toe in blood, and what I would later learn, the blood of his mother and his father.
Yeah.
And so I immediately went to the conscious woman who had requested that I attend to her daughter, and I looked over, and their daughter, who appeared almost at that point to already be what we call apoxic, but I started doing chest compressions and mouth to mouth. When I did that, the amount of blood that came out of her backside, because her front side appeared clear, but the amount of blood that came out of her backside was unbelievable. And I knew at that time that she had left us. And I immediately went back. Yes.
Joshua, you were talking about this very coherently. I know that you're a Navy veteran, so you may be used to this kind of thing. But most of us, honest to God, I've never seen a dead body. I've never seen anybody shot.
Honest to God.
And you certainly don't expect to see this at the friggin' mall. You're going to the mall.
Right.
You don't expect that. So.
Yeah, you're a Navy veteran. First of all, the likelihood that he actually saw that level of combat is not as high as you think it is. That's number one. Number two, the underlying assumption there is that, like, oh, we do this kind of violence elsewhere and that's fine. I know that that's not the main point of contention here, but it's one that definitely frustrates me. It's like, hey, maybe re-examine that sentiment. You know what I mean? Maybe re-examine the fucking. Well, this is this is the violence that's left for brown children in Iraq. You know what I mean? This is like the type of violence that 14-year-olds in Iraq are supposed to experience, or 8-year-olds in Iraq and Afghanistan are supposed to be experiencing, not our beautiful babies in America. It's like, I know, again, it's not the main point of contention here at all, and it's just probably a phrasing, but the underlying, the underlying attitude is one that I hear so frequently. These are weapons of war. These are weapons we use in Iraq and Afghanistan on deployment. It's like, yeah, I get what you're trying to say, but like, it's still fucked up, So
how are you processing this? How has it changed you, if at all? It gives me chills just listening to what you're telling us.
Yeah, I tend to turn to basically to just a pure logic in a situation like this. I try to take out any emotion personally and just let it process through my mind in a logical format, even though it appears illogical, because I find the logic in it, and that's how I'm coping.
Well, now that you're a member of the
that's why I'm able to communicate.
Well, now that we appreciate you sharing what you're sharing, as horrible as it is to hear. And now that you've been through it, what do you think it will take? I mean, it's an ongoing conversation. Nobody seems to know the answer to this question. But now that you've been through it and you've seen it up close and personal. I
don't know if there is any magic pill. I mean, we can speculate till dawn whether or not, I mean, it seems obvious that there's obviously mental health problems that need to be addressed that have been long overlooked. But as far as any other magic pill that's going to cure this, I couldn't tell you, and I wouldn't want to speculate.
Did you think you were safe at the mall when you went out with your friend that morning? Did you think that you were safe in a safe place?
Of course. You know, I'm at a very nice mall in a very respectable area that's not known for, you know, any acts of...
Dude, I just don't know. Guys, I can't find a solution to this problem. You said respectable area. A vet won't hit on gun control? Shocking? Yeah, like pretty much every single veteran that is like pro gun control, and even then some are, I was going to say, they're pretty much all of them are in here right now watching. And even then there are veterans in here that are like, actually, you know what? Fuck that. No, we're doing communist revolution with our guns. So it's just like, it's like, how do we solve this problem? I can't think of any solution, really. Mental health, I guess, which, again, Congress won't do anything about it. I'm sure it's the Democrats to blame for that, too. But how do we solve this? I don't know. Don't give me any examples of countries that have solved this, because those countries are gay.
Of violence or anything even remotely close to this. So, yeah, naturally, this was the third stop for the day. We hadn't had any problems. I didn't really think that, you know, anything was going to occur outside of the normal.
Mm-hmm. Why did you want to share your story with us this morning, Joshua?
Well, because they're traditionally speaking, it's very difficult to get somebody who could not only who was there, who was really there firsthand in the action, but where there is a way to...
He's trying to be humble. He's trying to humble brag and be like, I'm a fucking Navy veteran, so I've seen combat. So the action, like, the average civilian can't parse through the calamity with the mental clarity of a guy who has seen combat.
To communicate without the emotion so that people can understand the true depth of the depravity, and my hope in that they have that understanding of really how far and how bad it got, that there'll be a greater emotion, and hopefully with that emotion and that understanding, maybe we can edge, you know, towards some sort of end, you know, a goal to where we can maybe start to stop this kind of action.
Yeah, depravity is the word. How are you changed by this? Did you sleep last night?
I did sleep last night, and I couldn't tell you now necessarily how it may or may not change me going forward. I can't predict that, but I would be astonished if, you know, again, my already normally overly observant self becomes even more observant and more conscious, even more so than I already was and always have been, about my surroundings.
Joshua, thank you so much. I know you rushed in to help people. We certainly appreciate that.
Same speechwriter as Kamala Harris. Did they mention gun control? Fuck no. She actually asked them, like, what do you think is the reason? He's like, mental health. But Chad is also funny when they, like, I feel like Chad has never seen like a older generation autistic man before. I mean, I don't know if he is, but he kind of resembles it a little bit. In all of my days of working with young boys with autism, I saw their parents who were certainly on the spectrum, in my opinion, but did not even realize that they were. And I mean, it's a controversial subject, but you know, there's a lot of people in older generations that, even Spainhauer, a retired cop and veteran who responded to the scene because his son works at the mall, unambiguously said gun control is needed and the shooter's individual motivation is less important than gun proliferation. Yeah.
Can tell you, Alex, that on the outside, we've had a hear from the father of one of the employees who worked at a store here, who called his dad and said, there's an active shooter at the mall. I wanted to let you know. I'm going to go take cover in the back and bring as many people as I can with me. And here is how that father reacted upon showing up and witnessing the aftermath of this scene. Take a listen.
This could happen anywhere in the United States. It could happen to you. It could happen to you, okay? And we're not immune from it. And last night I was processing a lot of emotions. I was heartbroken. Today I'm mad. Mental health didn't fire that gun. Okay? Those people were killed with bullets. I saw the bullets. Okay? That's what killed those kids. Maybe he had a mental health issue, maybe it was treatable, but if that gun wasn't on the streets, he wouldn't, chances are he might not would have had access to it.
And this evening at 5 o'clock at a local church, there will be a vigil honoring those lives lost and those still recovering in area hospitals. Alex, this is a community that is just 25 miles north of Dallas here, absolutely stunned by what took place yesterday.
I'm.
Yeah, dudes are gonna be like, oh, he's a glowy. He's fake. One victim died as Spainhauer performed CPR on him. There was nothing I could do. I mean, the stories are fucking brutal, dude. The stories coming out of this are so incredibly fucking brutal. Like, you know, like 8-year-olds showered in the fucking blood of their parents as their parents, like, lifeless bodies covered them in their final moments to ensure that they survived. You know what I mean? That's it. That's what it is. I didn't see any of the images. I don't know how the fuck I didn't see a single piece of the imagery. I guess it was like, I wasn't online at the time. I guess it was like circulating like crazy left and right. And I'm happy that I didn't actually see it. Yeah, the one person who tried to help a kid, but when they went up to help, she didn't even have a face like that. I did read about a lot of the things that happened from like counts of the people that were there. 100th mass shooting of the year, by the way. Yeah. Just who's to say how we fix it, you know?
Hey everyone, I'm the editor. Thanks for watching till the end. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, then please drop a like and subscribe. Why not leave a Kaya love in the comments down below so that I know that you reached this point of the video? If you'd like more content like this one, then check the video up here on top of my head, or literally in front of my face right